Peace and blessings, everyone. I'm Ejuenka. Welcome to Spotlight. This evening, the Spotlight will be on Dr. Levon Chadwell Bruley. She's the acting Deputy Chief Education Officer. We're also going to have Mr. Art Christopher here. He's a member of the African Studies Club and a member of the Virgin Islands History Committee. And Ms. Jermaine Scatliff, she is a technical education consultant. We'll be discussing the introduction of some new courses into the curriculum: Virgin Islands history, financial services, and tourism in secondary schools. We're going to talk about the importance of studying our history. We're going to have an overview of what form the Virgin Islands history is going to take, financial services, and the tourism, and what the syllabi is going to look like for the new subject areas. We're going to talk about the reasons for introducing these new courses. We're going to talk about the human resource development. We'll also discuss the overall context in which Virgin Islands history will be presented, what will be its roots, as well as the development of the BVI Technical and Vocational Institute into the territory's fourth public secondary school. So it's going to be a very important, informative, interesting program. So you keep it glued right here to Spotlight. We're going to take a word from our sponsors. When we come back, I'll have with me Dr. Levon Chadwell Bruley. Keep it locked.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Roadtown, Tortola, BVI.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'd like to welcome my guest, Dr. Levon Chadwell Bruley. Dr. Bruley, welcome to Spotlight. It's good to see you. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
Yes. Lots going on in education the last few months, several months. New government came in, new minister came in, and he's gung-ho, wants to change this and change that. And now you're in the process of introducing some new subjects into our existing curriculum. Virgin Islands history, financial services, and tourism. Why these new subjects and why now?
Okay. Why these new subjects? Financial services for the longest while has been shrouded in some sort of a mystery. Even the adults seem not to understand what happens in financial services. So basically, we are trying to integrate this into the system so that our students will be more aware of, to create greater awareness of the contribution that these industries contribute to the Virgin Islands economy, to help our students to make more informed career choices by giving them a better understanding of the industry and exposing them to the various career opportunities within that particular industry. And also it's to create a bridge for meaningful employment right after they graduate.
So this course is going to be on such a level that not only will the secondary school children have an understanding of what is involved in the financial services sector, but they will be able to come out upon graduation and go right into the workforce and take up some positions. That's the level you're thinking about?
We are trying to get them to go into a working knowledge, certain concepts, knowing how the Financial Services Commission works. They hear some terminology being used, they're able to understand it quite readily and know what it is all about. Knowledge, basic knowledge.
But you prefer them to come from high school and go to HLSCC, to the Financial Services Charter Institute?
We always encourage that we go to a tertiary institution, but if the student prefers to go out into the workforce, this is one way of properly preparing them to embrace that workforce.
But you want them to have a good knowledge of the industry itself.
Yes.
I need to know about interest. I guess I'll have to go to HLSCC to continue in education to find out about the financial services, because adults know very little about it, and I suppose that through the children, the parents would get a good working knowledge of the financial services sector.
Through this subject, yes.
Now, tourism is another course you introduced in secondary school. What shape is that going to take? Tourism is sort of like a broad subject.
Okay, tourism. We're looking at the same aims. We're hoping to achieve the same things in terms of tourism. Basically, we'll be looking at 4 different strands in this particular subject. The resource development and utilization area, where we're looking at the different aspects of tourism, the history behind tourism, etc. Developing sustainable tourism, that's the next area we're going to focus on. The impact of tourism on society, everything that has to do with that. And tourism marketing, what all is involved. How do we do it here in the Virgin Islands? I must add here that the focus, though, even though we're looking at the foundation concepts of the subject area, we're going to focus heavily on what happens in the industry in the Virgin Islands.
When you say focus heavily on what happens in the industry, what sort of information, if you were to give me an example of the types of information that the students will be learning, what example?
Okay, I'll go back to financial services to use as an example. We have the Financial Services Commission, okay? We will focus on that in terms of showing how it operates.
Okay, and in tourism, you'll be focusing on that to show what? Because
tourism. What happens in the Virgin Islands? Okay, what are we doing in terms of developing sustainable tourism? What are we doing in that area? Okay, how does that impact our society here in the Virgin Islands?
So the economic impact of it, the environmental impact.
Yes,
those are things
we're going to consider.
We have some challenges with the service, because tourism is a service industry, and we have some challenges with service. Although I have to say that I just came back from another country, and I thought that BVI service wasn't so good. But Lord have mercy, I don't want to name another country, but I never had such bad service in my entire life. So it seems like up and down the Caribbean, we are having challenges with service. How is that something that's going to be included?
That is a part of the
tourism courses.
That's a part of it. Yes, the type of services that we have is a part of it.
Okay. Now, when someone comes out of school well, let me ask this: is there going to be certificates? If you go to school and you taking courses, math, science, English, history, and all those subjects, all the basic requirements, is there going to be a focus on those subjects? So when you come out with your diploma, you have a proficiency in, you have a diploma with a proficiency in tourism, or a diploma with a proficiency in financial services, which enables you to be accepted in the industry as someone who could perform upon graduation from high school.
Okay, let me just go back a bit here. We have 3 subjects going into the schools. Each one is being introduced at a different form. Virgin Island Studies will be introduced to first form, okay, for the year. Okay, tourism, 3rd formers only, and financial services, 4th formers only.
Okay, so well, first of all, why you decide to introduce it at a 3rd and 4th farm level and not at a 1st farm level? Why?
Which subject are you talking about?
Well, both tourism and financial services. Why the ministry feels that you don't need to start paying attention to those subjects from time you get into secondary school?
Okay, right now, what we're doing, it's a pilot. After this pilot has been completed for the year and we see how it works, we will chart our course from there. Make certain decision as to where we go from there.
So you develop as you go
Yes.
along. Now, the human resources that's going to be employed in these fields, do you have teachers already? You're going to have textbooks? How is the presentation going to work?
For the financial services, the business department and some of the social studies teachers will be teaching that course.
Say that again, for the financial services?
The business department teachers and the social studies department teachers will be teaching that course. That's what.
And they have been brought up to speed?
Yes. They've had their training already. They've been trained in May of this year. They've had a second training in July, and they're also going to get a more informative, in addition to all the high school teachers and principals. Another informative session will be done during the Summer Institute for them to make everybody aware of what is going on with the course.
And are you going to have a textbook? How is the information that you're going to teach compiled? Where is that information coming from, and how is it going to be presented?
Presently, we're working on a textbook, so there will be something.
So you're going to have a tourism textbook. So if I wanted to know about tourism, I could pick up one of my children's who is in high school textbook, and I could study tourism myself.
Yes, we have identified a textbook for that as well.
And for financial services as well?
Yes.
Okay.
As well as for Virgin Islands Studies, Virgin Islands Studies.
So this is Virgin Islands Studies, not Virgin Islands History.
Virgin Islands History Studies.
It's more or less the same thing? Okay, and you have a textbook for Virgin Islands History too?
We had put a committee together and we have compiled a book.
The information?
Yes.
Okay. And I understand the reasoning behind financial services, putting financial services in the schools and putting tourism in the schools. What you hope to achieve by having Virgin Islands Studies in the school?
We're hoping that the students will get a better understanding, appreciate, and embrace the rich political, socio-economic heritage which influences their daily lives. That's what we're hoping to achieve by introducing the Virgin Islands history.
Okay, and I know we've been talking about building self-esteem in our children, and by having them learn their history, is that one of the goals? One of the goals as well. Where is the Virgin Islands history going to start? Where is it going to start from?
Okay, we're starting in first form with it. Okay, you're talking specifically about the topics that we're going to start with.
Well, since you say first form, we could deal with that. What form is going to start? Yes.
First form.
But also, where is the history itself going to start from?
Okay, we're going to begin first with the importance of studying history. Okay, from there we're going to go into the geography and geology of the Virgin Islands, then Africa, the birthplace of civilization and humanity. Then we're going to look at the Amerindian migration and settlement.
Say that again. Amerindian migration and settlement.
The European exploration, economic development of the Virgin Islands, and resistance to emancipations. Those are the 7 main areas we're going to cover in first form. However, seeing that we have done history before in the PVI High School, this will continue in second form because they're already doing it in second form.
So we already have Virgin Island history or Virgin Island studies in second form?
They have been doing it.
From these, so you say 7 areas? That's what you just
I'm not sure that they're doing these 7 areas, but they have been doing.
Okay. Go over the 7 areas again with me one more time.
The importance of the study of history, geography and geology of the Virgin Islands.
Geography and geology of the Virgin Islands.
Africa, the birthplace of civilization and humanity. Amerindian migration and settlement. European exploration, economic development of the Virgin Islands, and resistance and emancipation. Yes.
That and you already have the information compiled, and you already have the human resources.
Yes, we do.
Okay. And are these subjects going to be mandatory for all students, in all secondary school students?
All secondary schools, public secondary schools.
Yes, all public secondary school students.
All first formers are required to do Virgin Islands history. All third formers will be required to do tourism, and all fourth formers will be required to do financial services studies.
So fourth and fifth form will be doing financial services?
Just fourth form.
Oh, you're not doing it in fifth form?
No, dear.
So why is that? I mean, why not? You don't need it?
You must remember too that the students are doing CXC, so we have to take that into consideration. That's why I said we are working out the logistics as we go along.
Okay. You have to take.
That's why it's a pilot.
That's why it's a pilot. So this is a new introduction, and of course you're expecting some challenges, you're expecting some kinks, and if you don't start it, you'll never really see how the reality of what's on the ground.
Yes.
So you got to start it so you could get it straight now.
Yes, sir.
We got to take a break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Ad Christopher, who is a member of the African Studies Club, and he's also a member of the Virgin Islands Studies Committee. I suppose a committee was formed to go over this process, yes?
Yes, it was.
And we're going to talk to him about some of the things relating to the Virgin Islands history and Virgin Islands studies.
Okay.
When we come back. Keep it locked right here to Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Bolo's High-Tech Printery, Virgin Island Motors, and Clarence Thomas Limited.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Edjuenka. I'm here with Dr. Levon Chawel-Bruley of the Ministry of Education and Culture. She's the Acting Deputy Director. And we are talking about some new introductions, some new courses that's being introduced into the secondary school, Virgin Islands history, financial services, and tourism. What that's going to mean for the students and the territory, how it's going to be presented, and what the expected student learning outcomes will be. We've just been joined by Art Christopher, who is a member of the African Studies Club, as well as a member of the Virgin Islands History Committee, helping to put together the information and the presentation of the Virgin Islands history in the secondary schools. I want to welcome you, Art, to Spotlight. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, I know you're not a stranger. So it's I think this is some interesting and important and fantastic new developments that we are beginning to really focus on having our history put into the education process in the secondary school system. It's a good thing. I would have liked to, my personal view, I would like to see it start a little earlier. But to be, for now we take what we could get, and that Dr. Bruley said, it's a pilot program. We have to overcome whatever challenges come up and refine it and make it into what we want it to be. So it's a good thing, and it's good to see, and I'm glad that you in particular are a part of it. Just tell us a little bit about your role in development of this syllabus.
Well, specifically myself, Dr. Kathy Smith, and so one day, being a part of the African Studies Club, our role was to introduce that aspect into the overall curricula. And I must say here that African history has always been taught in the schools, but what we're looking at is more of an early civilization introduction to that aspect. And additionally, a more of an integrated tying together of African history and Virgin Islands history. So there's not a situation where we have the idea that Virgin Islands history is isolated and far removed from traditions in Africa, and seeing the linkages between the two.
Okay. Now you said that African history has always been taught in high school. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. I don't remember African history being taught in high school except the transatlantic slave trade. So you have to help me with that.
Well, that is some qualification. There has been history talking about ancient Ghana, ancient Mali, ancient Songhai. Not as much as me personally would have liked, but that information is touched on, but it is far outshadowed by the information of the Aztecs and the Incas and the Mayas and so forth. When we look at people in the Virgin Islands, over 90% ancestry of African descent, we feel like there should be more of a weighting, the information should be weighted more towards Africa than it is currently. So I think in this, what we're doing now, we should see some improvements in that area.
Okay. No, I don't get in trouble here. No, I don't see this. Because what's happening in my mind is that when you say the Aztecs and the Mayan and the Incas and those civilizations that were that built pyramids and so on in quote unquote Latin America and South America,
yes.
And we talk about them being Amerindians. It's like we are adapting the naming of these people from European historical productions, and that many scholars have found that particular naming system and process to be inaccurate. And so my question is, are we going to be in our presentation of Virgin Islands history be correcting some of the errors or the inaccuracies, I should say, not errors, the inaccuracies presented in our history by Europeans?
Well, from my perspective, this is the beginning of that correction process. So I don't think that we can look at this project and say, okay, this is this is the correction of some of the inaccuracies that has happened in the past. But I think that this is a beginning, and I think that if we are successful, it will go a long way to make some of those corrections.
Okay. And in your mind, as part of the committee and for a person involved in it, what are you hoping the student learning outcome to be? What are goals you see being achieved through this new introduction and this new process?
Well, specifically for me, in terms of some of the information being presented that may not have necessarily been presented in the past, I would like to see our students get a greater appreciation for Virgin Islands history and get a deeper appreciation of what that history is and the historical context of that history. Additionally, I would like to see students come away with a greater identity of self, with a connection to their ancestry. So we don't have a situation where people are saying, okay, I'm a Virgin Islander, but they don't know what that means. If you see what I'm saying. And being a Virgin Islander is not just someone living on an island situated in the quote-unquote Caribbean, but being a Virgin Islander is an individual that has a deep connection to their roots, who understands their ancestry, who understands their culture, who understands the origins of their culture, and they understand how African people adapted to a living situation here in these islands.
So at what point in history will Virgin Islands history begin?
I don't know how long you thought about that question, but well, okay, to be serious, right? And this is a going debate that is constantly had. Are we Africans? Are we Virgin Islanders? Is this a new identity that we have created here in the islands? And the truth of the matter is, life is a continuous process, and people are constantly evolving and engaging in new experiences and so forth. So, me personally, I see ourselves as Afro-Caribbean or Afro-Americans, whatever term that can fit, where you create an identity that is not just simply Virgin Islands or with a negation of your African ancestry, but there's a good combination of the two.
Okay. How much leeway the ministry is given to the development of these subject areas, for the technocrats to bring the information to the table to the students? Is there a monitoring process? Are there decisions being made as to how far back we are going to go? Who is making? Who are the people that are making those types of determinations and those types of decisions?
Well, in the Virgin Islands history, we have the history teachers. We have history teachers on board. So they are kind of like helping us to monitor what or how far, as you told me.
Can you tell us who those history teachers are?
Okay, we have Miss Letitia Penn Rogers, Miss Jasmine Chukutu.
Jasmine Chukutu. Okay, and those are your history teachers.
Yes, at the high school.
And then the committee is helping to inform them, or what the role the committee is playing?
The committee to inform, they inform and they assist in the development.
The development of the program. Okay. And when I asked about the point of origin, searching for a contextual framework, in the sense that we're going to start off with Virgin Island history from the point that African people entered the Virgin Islands and what happened from there? Or are we going to talk about a little of how they got to the Virgin Islands, where they came through, and what that process of movement into the Virgin Island was? So that's basically what I'm asking. What will be the contextual framework? How would we tie everything together from before we got here to what happened after we got here? How is that being done?
Well, I think initially, with discussions with other members, we kind of came to the conclusion that we need to build the information so that there is some level of foot to stand on when you reach to Virgin Islands history. So we're looking at a situation where we can begin talking about who are the ancestors of the people of the Virgin Islands. And you can talk about the linkages between different groups in Africa that were taken to the Virgin Islands, the Igbos, the Akans, and so forth. But then there has to be some contextualization of these people and who they were. So you go back to a history of the continent of Africa, and you can start with, first, Africa being the birthplace of civilization. The birthplace of humanity. And then we go to Africa being the birthplace of civilization. So we're talking about early civilizations like ancient Nubia, ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. And then we see a progression happening throughout the continent. Additionally, I would like to see our students become very familiar with climate change in the Sahara and how it affected the continent of Africa. A lot of people know about the Bering Strait and how the Amerindians came across the ice bridge, but a lot of people don't know that there was a period of time when the Sahara was tropical, and then the desertification of the Sahara and how it impacted the migrations and the movements of people on the continent.
Tropical meaning that it wasn't a desert, there was water actually in that location.
Water and green, lush
and plant life and so on. Okay. You're watching Spotlight, yes, and I'm here with yeah, that's what you do when you lose your train of thought. I'm here with Dr. Bruley of the Ministry of Education and Culture, and Brother Ad Christopher, who is a member of the African Studies Club and the Committee of Virgin Islands History, and we have a fantastic discussion about the new introductions into curriculum, financial services, tourism, and Virgin Islands history. We're also going to be talking with Ms. Jermaine Scatliff, the technical education consultant, about the development of a fourth secondary school, which will be a technical vocational secondary school. So we have a lot of information for you this evening. You keep it locked right here at Spotlight. We're going to be right back with more right after these words from our sponsors.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Rotown, Tortola, BVI.